All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I am Nishit Kumar and with me is Subhadra Ramachandran. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to share his thoughts in Mann Ki Baat program at 11:30 a.m. today. Prime Minister says importance of India-Israel ties has further increased when the world is witnessing important changes. Election Commission bans exit polls till March 7th ahead of assembly elections in 5 states. 5 terrorists killed in 2 separate encounters in Jammu and Kashmir. Karnataka government announces relaxation in COVID restrictions following improvement in corona situation. India's COVID vaccination coverage crosses 165 crore 60 lakh mark. Nation pays homage to Mahatma Gandhi on his 74th death anniversary today. India beat Bangladesh by 5 wickets to enter the semi-finals of the ICC Under-19 Cricket World Cup, and Rafael Nadal to take on Daniel Medvedev in the men's singles final of the Australian Open tennis in Melbourne today. As the number of COVID-19 cases is rising fast in several parts of the country, we appeal to our listeners to be vigilant and to get fully vaccinated and help others, including children between 15 and 18 years, to get vaccinated. With the new Omicron variant of coronavirus causing concern, please continue to follow these 3 simple steps to stay safe. Wear a face mask. Maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing and focus on hand and face hygiene. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact national helpline numbers 011 2397 8046 and 1075. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will share his thoughts with the people of the country and abroad in the Mann Ki Baat program on All India Radio at 11:30 a.m. today. This time, Mann Ki Baat will be broadcast from 11:30 a.m. instead of the usual 11 a.m. after observing the remembrances to the father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi, on his death anniversary. This will be the 85th edition of the monthly radio program and the first episode of 2022. It will be broadcast on the entire network of AIR and Doordarshan, AIR News website and News on AIR mobile app. It will also be streamed live on the YouTube channels of the AIR News, DD News, PMO and Information and Broadcasting Ministry. AIR will broadcast the program in regional languages immediately after the Hindi broadcast. The regional language versions will also be repeated at 8 p.m. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has expressed confidence that the mutual cooperation between India and Israel will continue to reach new heights. In a statement on 30 years of establishment of formal diplomatic relationship between the 2 countries, Mr. Modi said the history of the relationship between the nations is very old. He said there has been strong ties between the people of India and Israel for centuries. The Prime Minister said when the world is witnessing important changes, the significance of India-Israel relations has increased even more.
जब भारत अपनी स्वतंत्रता की 75वीं वर्षगांठ इस वर्ष मना रहा है, जब इजराइल अपनी स्वतंत्रता की 75वीं वर्षगांठ अगले साल मनाएगा और जब दोनों देश अपने राजनयिक संबंधों की 30वीं वर्षगांठ मना रहे हैं, 30 वर्ष के इस महत्वपूर्ण पड़ाव पर मैं आप सभी को फिर से बधाई देता हूं। मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि भारत इजराइल दोस्ती आने वाले दशकों में आपसी सहयोग के नए कीर्तिमान स्थापित करती रहेगी.
Ahead of budget session of Parliament, Rajya Sabha Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu has convened an all-party meeting tomorrow to ensure the smooth functioning of the House. The meeting will take place virtually. The government has also convened an all-party meeting on the same day to seek cooperation from all political parties for smooth functioning of the budget session. This meeting will also be held virtually in view of the COVID-19 situation. The floor leaders of political parties in the Rajya Sabha and the Lok Sabha have been invited for the meeting. The budget session will begin tomorrow with President Ramnath Kovind's address to both the Houses of Parliament. Economic Survey 2021-2022 will be tabled on the same day in Parliament. The budget session of Parliament will commence tomorrow. On the eve of the session, the News Services Division of All India Radio will bring you 2 special discussion programs, Issues Before Parliament in English and Sansad Ke Samaksh Mudde in Hindi tonight. Issues Before Parliament program can be heard from 9:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. on FM Rainbow Channel and additional frequencies. Sansad Ke Samaksh Mudde program can be heard from 9:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. on FM Gold Channel and additional frequencies. Members of Parliament and senior leaders from recognized national parties will be participating in the discussion programs. Tune in to above channels to listen to the issues the national parties want to discuss in the budget session.
Election Commission has banned on conducting and publishing exit polls between the 10th of February and 7th of March. The decision has been taken in view of the upcoming assembly elections in 5 states, Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Goa, Manipur and Uttarakhand. In its order, the Commission said during 7 a.m. on the 10th of February to 6:30 p.m. on the 7th of March, the conducting of any exit poll and publishing or publicizing by means of the print or electronic media shall be prohibited. The Commission further clarified that displaying any election matter, including results of any opinion poll or any other poll survey, will be prohibited during the period of 48 hours, ending with the hours fixed for conclusion of polls in the respective polling areas. Election Commission said any person who violates the order will be punishable with imprisonment for a term which may be extended to 2-year jail or fine or both. In Uttar Pradesh, star campaigners and senior leaders of all political parties are campaigning for their candidates ahead of the state assembly elections. Many senior leaders of the BJP, Congress, BSP and Samajwadi Party, along with other small parties, will be holding door-to-door campaign and small rallies today. While the BJP President J.P. Nadda will be in Shikohabad area of Firozabad district, Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh will campaign for the party in Kasganj district. BJP leader and Union Minister Smriti Irani will be in Agra and hold door-to-door campaign for party candidates, while senior party leader and UP Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath will be canvassing in Bulandshahr and Hapur districts. Senior Congress leader and Chief Minister of Chhattisgarh, Bhupesh Baghel, will campaign for the Congress candidates in Meerut district. Meanwhile, political parties are leaving no stone unturned to woo the voters. More from our correspondent.
BJP has invited suggestions from its party workers for the digital rally of senior party leader and Prime Minister Narendra Modi, which is scheduled tomorrow afternoon. Prime Minister will address the voters and party workers of Saharanpur, Shamli, Muzaffarnagar, Bagpat and Gautam Budh Nagar districts. BSP leader Mayawati yesterday attacked Samajwadi Party and Bharatiya Janata Party in her tweet and said that both parties are campaigning on religious and caste lines and people must refrain from them. On the other hand, Samajwadi Party yesterday announced that if the party comes into the power, it will open Samajwadi Canteen and Provision Store where all the necessary items including ration will be available on subsidized rates for the poor and marginalized section of the society. Party President Akhilesh Yadav also announced to provide Samajwadi Thali at these canteens and provision stores where any person can get full meal in just 10 rupees. Sushil Chandra Tiwari, AIR News, Lucknow.
In Uttar Pradesh, the process of filing nominations for the third and fourth phase of assembly elections is underway. A total of 226 candidates have filed their nominations for the third phase till date. 128 nominations were filed yesterday. The last date for filing the nomination for this phase is 1st February. In Jammu and Kashmir, 5 terrorists were killed in 2 separate encounters with security forces in Pulwama and Budgam districts during the past 12 hours. They include a Jaish-e-Mohammed commander Zahid Wani and a Pakistani terrorist. While 4 terrorists were killed in the Naira area of Pulwama district, another terrorist was neutralized in the Char-e-Sharif area of Budgam. Incriminating materials including arms and ammunition have been recovered from the encounter sites. We spoke to J&K DGP Dilbagh Singh about the killing of 5 terrorists.
काफी बड़े लंबे अरसे से एक दहशतगर्द ग्रुप पुलवामा डिस्ट्रिक्ट में एक्टिव था। जाहिद वानी करके जैश ए मोहम्मद का लोकल कमांडर था, जिसके साथ फॉरेन टेररिस्ट पाकिस्तान का रहने वाला भी चलता था। एक खास इतला पे पिछली रात ये ऑपरेशन लॉन्च किया गया था, जो सुबह तक कंक्लूड हो चुका है। पुलवामा के ऑपरेशन में 4 आतंकी, 4 के 4 जैश ए मोहम्मद से वाबस्ता है, जो मारे जा चुके हैं और काफी बड़ी मकदार में असला और अम्यूनिशन पकड़ा गया है। दूसरा ऑपरेशन चरार-ए-शरीफ बडगाम में लॉन्च किया था, उसमें एक ही दहशतगर्द था, वो भी मारा गया है। इसके साथ दोनों ऑपरेशन कंक्लूड हो गए हैं और 5 टेररिस्ट इसमें मारे गए हैं।
India's COVID vaccination coverage has crossed 165 crore 60 lakh mark. Union Health Minister said over 93 crore 87 lakh vaccine doses have been administered as the first dose and more than 70 crore 57 lakh vaccine doses given as the second dose. It said more than 53 lakh vaccine doses were administered yesterday. The ministry said more than 1 crore 16 lakh precautionary doses have been administered to the eligible beneficiaries so far. In view of the improvement in COVID situation in Karnataka, state government has announced some relaxation in corona-related restrictions. It has announced to lift the night curfew and reopen the schools for classes 1st to 9th students from tomorrow. This decision was taken in a high-level meeting chaired by Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai with health experts, ministers and senior officials in Bengaluru yesterday. More from our Bengaluru correspondent.
Based on the technical committee report, the government has decided to allow 100% occupancy in hotels, pubs, bars, restaurants and malls. However, only 50% of occupancy will be allowed in cinema halls, multiplexes, swimming pools, gyms and sports complexes. Temples will also allow prayers with 50% capacity. As per the new COVID guidelines, marriage functions are allowed with 300 people in open space and 200 people in closed space. Government officers can work with 100% attendance of the staff. However, a restriction on protest, religious congregations, sit-in demonstration and political gatherings will continue. Minister for Primary and Secondary Education B.C. Nagesh said if positive cases were reported in classes, only those classes will remain closed and not the entire school. R. Murthy, AIR News, Bengaluru.
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to share his thoughts in Mann Ki Baat program at 11:30 a.m. today. Prime Minister says importance of India-Israel ties has further increased when the world is witnessing important changes. Election Commission bans exit polls till March 7th ahead of assembly elections in 5 states. 5 terrorists killed in 2 separate encounters in Jammu and Kashmir. Karnataka government announces relaxation in COVID restrictions following improvement in corona situation. India's COVID vaccination coverage crosses 165 crore 60 lakh mark. Nation pays homage to Mahatma Gandhi on his 74th death anniversary today. India beat Bangladesh by 5 wickets to enter the semi-finals of ICC Under-19 Cricket World Cup. And Rafael Nadal to take on Daniil Medvedev in men's singles final of Australian Open Tennis in Melbourne today. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
अपने बिजनेस को बढ़ाने के लिए लीजिए आकाशवाणी का सहयोग और दीजिए उसे बुलंदियों के पंख।
आपका बिजनेस लोकल है या राष्ट्रीय, आकाशवाणी देती है उपभोक्ताओं तक पहुंचने का हर विकल्प।
और अब तो आप घर, दफ्तर या दुकान पर बैठे बैठे कर सकते हैं आकाशवाणी के किसी भी केंद्र के लिए विज्ञापनों की बुकिंग।
आकाशवाणी के विभिन्न चैनलों पर विज्ञापन देना सुलभ और सस्ता।
बुकिंग है तो संपर्क करें 8700014242 पर।
8700014242।
Welcome back. You are tuned to the morning news on All India Radio. In Kerala, 24-hour lockdown-like restrictions came into force from midnight last night to slow down the rising COVID-19 cases. This is the second weekend lockdown being clamped in the state during the third wave of the pandemic driven by Omicron variant. General public have been asked to limit travels to only emergencies and for procurement of essential items and services. Only parcel services will be available in hotels and bakeries from 7 in the morning to 9 at night. Long-distance trains, buses and pre-booked tourist taxis will ply. There will be no changes in the examination schedule. Meanwhile, Kerala's daily caseload crossed 50,000 for the 4th consecutive day yesterday. The state reported 50,812 fresh cases and 47,649 recoveries in the last 24 hours.
Enforcement Directorate has filed supplementary charge sheet against former Maharashtra Home Minister Anil Deshmukh for corruption. The charge sheet says that Deshmukh was insistent on appointments and transfers of his favorite police officials. It further says that Deshmukh used to prepare a list of his choice of police officials for transfer and postings. This list he would share with the then Additional Chief Secretary Sitaram Kunthe and Mumbai Police Commissioner Parambir Singh.
The nation pays homage to the father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi, on his 74th death anniversary today. The day is also observed as Martyrs' Day. The nation will observe a 2-minute silence at 11 a.m. on the occasion.
Union Home Minister Amit Shah will inaugurate a grand wall mural of Mahatma Gandhi at Sabarmati riverfront in Ahmedabad, Gujarat on Martyrs' Day today. According to official sources, the grand wall mural has been made from 2,975 clay kulhards, earthen cups, by 75 trained potters across the country. This grand wall mural of Mahatma Gandhi has been set up by the Khadi and Village Industries Commission, KVIC, which will be dedicated to the nation by the Union Home Minister Amit Shah today. The event, which will mark the 74th Martyrs' Day and the death anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi. The KVIC has undertaken Kumbhar Shashtikaran program for empowering potters by generating employment. In India, Anti-Leprosy Day is observed on 30th January every year. 30th January is Mahatma Gandhi's Martyrdom Day. He was deeply committed to the cause of leprosy-affected persons. Leprosy is also one of the neglected tropical diseases. Today is also World Neglected Tropical Diseases Day. Our correspondent has filed this report.
National Leprosy Eradication Program is a centrally sponsored scheme. Its vision is leprosy-free India. Under this, action is taken for early case detection, complete treatment of detected cases, and to contain the onset of disease in close contacts. Other initiatives under the program include leprosy awareness campaigns and services for disability prevention and medical rehabilitation, such as provision of microcellular rubber footwear, aids and appliances, and self-care kits. Under the program, reconstructive surgeries are conducted and welfare allowance is paid to each patient undergoing reconstructive surgeries. Speaking on leprosy in 2020, President Ram Nath Kovind had stressed on becoming aware ourselves and creating awareness amongst others.
We have to become aware and educated on this disease and its different dimensions and spread that awareness among our communities. We need to empower those who have been discriminated on account of leprosy through advocacy and information dissemination.
Hoping for a leprosy-free India, this is Pragya Devada for AIR News Delhi.
Films Division is joining the nation in paying homage to Mahatma Gandhi on his 74th death anniversary today, observed as Martyrs' Day. To mark the occasion, a documentary film, Gandhi Rediscovered, is being streamed on the Film Division website and YouTube channel throughout the day. The special screening is a part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav celebrated by the Union Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. The film discusses the scope of Swadeshi and it also tries to examine the relevance of Gandhi's philosophy in the present times. As our nation celebrates the 75th year of independence, a series of events are being organized by the government as part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. To commemorate the occasion as a Janotsav, All India Radio News brings its listeners a special quiz on India's freedom movement and its glorious history. The quiz is being conducted every Monday and Tuesday in the morning news. The next question of Amrit Mahotsav quiz will be shared with the listeners tomorrow. And now let's listen to our special program, Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav.
Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. Birth of a nation. India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of this struggle every day. Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram Patita Pavan Sita Ram.
Today we pay homage to Father of the Nation, Mahatma Gandhi, who breathed his last on 30th of January 1948.
In September 1947, Gandhiji arrived in Delhi from Calcutta, where he had gone to appeal for peace following the partition riots. He stayed at Birla House in Delhi. Most of his time at Birla House was spent in writing letters, meeting visitors, and attending prayers.
हिंदू धर्म में, सच्चा हिंदू धर्म में ऐसी कास्ट को, छुआ-छूत को, एक जंगली और एक बड़ा है, उन सब चीजों को स्थान नहीं दे सकता है। उसमें सर्व धर्मों का समुच्चय समाविष्ट होना ही चाहिए। अगर नहीं होता है तो मेरी निगाह में वो हिंदू धर्म नहीं है।
Gandhiji began his last fast to restore communal harmony on 13th of January 1948. After 7 days, on the 20th of January, there was an attempt to assassinate Gandhiji when a person threw a bomb at Birla House. But it didn't harm Gandhiji, and he said,
"If I am to die by bullet of a madman, I must do so smiling. There must be no anger within me. God must be in my heart and on my lips."
When Gandhiji was offered an enhanced security cover, he said,
"Those who preferred security to freedom had no right to live."
On the evening of 30th of January, when Gandhiji was being escorted to the prayer meetings by his two grandnieces, Nathuram Godse emerged from the crowd. He bowed to him and shot him 3 times at point-blank range. Gandhiji slumped to the ground, mortally wounded.
Speaking on the All India Radio, Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru informed the nation about the loss as,
"The light has gone out of our lives and there is darkness everywhere. And I do not quite know what to tell you and how to say it. Our beloved leader, Bapu as we called him, the father of the nation, is no more."
The following day, an enormous crowd estimated at nearly 1 million people lined the 5-mile route of the funeral procession to the bank of the Yamuna River. The ashes were kept on the river bank for 3 days before they were taken away for immersion in Sangam in Prayagraj. His memorial Rajghat in New Delhi is a pilgrimage for millions of his followers.
We also remember Kudumala Rangarao, who ushered in an era of social reform and inspired even Mahatma Gandhi to follow in his footsteps.
Born into a poor family in Kasargod, Rangarao envisioned empowerment of the depressed classes through education and steered change in a society way back in the 1890s. Rangarao set up schools for the downtrodden. He called them Panchama schools.
To persuade the kids to attend schools, he arranged for midday meals and 2 paise per day to the parents to develop an interest and motivate the families to get their children to schools. By marrying off his own widowed daughter to the Zamindar of Kumaramangalam, he set an example of intercaste marriage and widow remarriage in India.
Following his inspiration, Gandhiji married one of his sons with the daughter of C. Rajagopalacharis. Mahatma Gandhi said,
"I discerned social loyalty from Mr. Rangarao. He's an inspiration and a guide for me. He's my teacher when it comes to the upliftment of the untouchables."
Kudumal Rangarao breathed his last in Mangalore on 30th of January 1928. AIR News pays homage to the noble soul.
30th of January is also the death anniversary of Makhanlal Chaturvedi. Born in Hoshangabad on the 4th of April 1889, he was inspired by Bal Gangadhar Tilak and Gandhiji. He was the illustrious editor of Prabha and later Karmavir, the journals which enlightened the masses against British imperialism. He was imprisoned by the British government many times, and his journal was forcibly closed down by the British. The British excesses could not bend the will of the valiant patriot poet. Once out of jail, Makhanlal restarted his journal.
After independence, Makhanlal refrained from seeking a share in power and continued to exhort the people through speech and writing. He continued to walk on the path shown by Mahatma Gandhi to build an equitable society. He was awarded the first Sahitya Academy Award in Hindi for his work Him Tarangini in 1955. The Government of India awarded him the Padma Bhushan in 1963. Makhanlal Chaturvedi breathed his last on 30th of January 1968 in Bhopal. We salute the great nationalist.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
Best wishes to all consumers for Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Hallmark ensures purity of gold. Always purchase Hallmark gold jewelry. For any consumer-related complaints, please contact National Consumer Helpline's toll-free number 14404, issued in public interest by the Department of Consumer Affairs, Government of India. Jago Grahak Jago.
In the ICC Under-19 Cricket World Cup, India beat Bangladesh by 5 wickets in the Super League quarter-final at Antigua last night to set up semi-final clash with Australia. And in tennis, 20-time Grand Slam champion Rafael Nadal will clash with world number 2 Daniil Medvedev in the men's singles final of the Australian Open in Melbourne today. Earlier yesterday, world number 1 Ashley Barty won her first Australian Open title after defeating Danielle Collins of the United States in the women's singles final at the Rod Laver Arena. Top seed Barty defeated 27-seed Collins in straight sets 6-3, 7-6.
And now let us take a look at the weather forecast for today. The national capital Delhi is likely to witness strong surface winds during the day. Temperature will vary between 7 and 23 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will have mainly clear sky. The minimum temperature was 20 degrees Celsius, while the maximum is expected to be around 32 degrees. Srinagar will have mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. Jammu will have mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. The minimum temperature was 7 degrees Celsius, and the maximum will be around 19 degrees. Leh is likely to witness partly cloudy sky. Gilgit will also have partly cloudy sky. Muzaffarabad will have mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards evening or night. Bengaluru will have fog in the morning and partly cloudy sky later. The minimum temperature was 17 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be around 29 degrees. Hyderabad will have fog in the morning and mainly clear sky later. Temperature will hover between 13 and 30 degrees Celsius. Imphal will have fog or mist in the morning and mainly clear sky later. The city observed minimum temperature of 2 degrees Celsius and a maximum of around 22 degrees. Srinagar will have mainly clear sky. The temperature will hover between 3 and 14 degrees Celsius. Aizawl will have fog in the morning and mainly clear sky later. Minimum temperature was 4 degrees while the maximum will be around 16 degrees. Kohima will have mainly clear sky. The minimum and the maximum temperature will be between 4 and 16 degrees Celsius. Itanagar will have fog or mist in the morning and mainly clear sky later. Temperature will hover between 7 and 24 degrees Celsius.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. Drones dazzle beating the retreat ceremony is the front page story in the Sunday Pioneer. A spectacular drone and laser show punctuating the ceremony at Rajpath left spectators and television viewers spellbound across the nation. PM says India-Israel ties important amid global change, reports The Hindu. IT Ministry's plan of interlinking multiple digital IDs like PAN, Aadhaar and driving license is the cover page story in the Sunday Express. U.S. President Biden vows to deploy troops to Eastern Europe amid the Ukrainian crisis is the headline in the Sunday Times. Amid heightened Russia-Ukraine tensions and the pandemic, can the budget provide some cushion for the rupee, headlines the Business Line. It's Barty's Party is the top story in the Economic Times as the top-ranked Aussie woman defeated spirited American Danielle Collins to win the Australian Open at Melbourne, and Nadal chases history, says the Hindustan Times, as Rafael Nadal to take on Daniil Medvedev in the Australian Open finals today. And finally, balmy morning, a Sunday temperature climbed past 22 degrees in the national capital, reports the Hindustan Times.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to share his thoughts in Mann Ki Baat program at 11:30 a.m. today. Prime Minister says importance of India-Israel ties has further increased when the world is witnessing important changes. Election Commission bans exit polls till March 7th ahead of assembly elections in 5 states. 5 terrorists killed in 2 separate encounters in Jammu and Kashmir. Karnataka government announces relaxation in COVID restrictions following improvement in corona situation. India's COVID vaccination coverage crosses 165 crore 60 lakh mark. Nation pays homage to Mahatma Gandhi on his 74th death anniversary today. India beat Bangladesh by 5 wickets to enter the semi-finals of the ICC Under-19 Cricket World Cup. And Rafael Nadal to take on Daniil Medvedev in the men's singles final of the Australian Open tennis in Melbourne today. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.